black swan. Shoot, 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 touch the ground, sinking in the blue, my love. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Hello, we're waking it up with you. Hurry, gonna get it up. I'll kill it for you. Hurry, gonna get it up. Give it up. Hurry, gonna get it up. I'll kill it for you. Hurry, gonna get it up. Give it up.
Hello everyone to our stream of ID at Xbox, the showcase. I think I'm being joined by at least one guy soon. Isaac will be joining us and possibly someone else too. Did they forget the music or am I playing some music? Okay, they forget.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome on into the ID at Xbox showcase right here on Twitch Gaming. Now, I am one of your
Hi, Isaac.
today's Story Mode
Hi,
Bay,
Pat.
and I have the
I couldn't
honor
find
of
my
being
mic.
joined by
Just trying
the
to find it.
incredible Trisha Hirschberger. Trisha,
I
how are
have
you
the
feeling
honor
today?
of being joined by the incredible
No!
Story Mode Bay. This
How are
is
you
so
doing
exciting,
today? Yes.
right? I'm doing good. I'm really excited. I mean, Brianna and I today are going to walk you through so many exciting things. We're going to unveil new games. We're going to talk about indie games. I love my indie games. So on today's show, we're going to be showcasing and celebrating indie Xbox games, right? And we'll have so many talented devs joining us throughout the day to talk about their games, including, but not limited to, Among Us, Moonglow Bay, Soup Pot, Nobody Saves the World, Death's Door, and 12 Minutes. And each of our developer guests will sit down for a conversation with some of our favorite streamers and creators, including awesome folks like Kate Stark and Stallion83, Donut Age and Technique, and Blind Gamer Steve. So many fun folks. We'll also have special interviews with Chris Charla from ID at Xbox. And throughout the day, we're going to be dropping exclusive new game trailers as well. So if you're an indie games fan, this is the place to be. We'll have Victoria Tran from Innersloth will be here to discuss Among Us. Gwen Foster and Trina from Chicon Club will chat their new game Soup Pot.
I feel like
Louis
having
Antonio
somebody
from Annapurna
discuss
Interactive
Among Us is
will
kind
get
of
into
pointless
their
at this
highly
point.
anticipated game, 12 Minutes. I cannot wait.
Why is it pointless?
We've also
I
got
mean,
Graham Smith and Ian
even people
Campbell
that
from
don't play it
Dreamcast
already
Studios. They're
know
gonna
what
be
it
here
is.
discussing Nobody Saves the World.
Well, there might be two people who haven't heard about it.
Bay, Mark Foster and David Fenn from Acid Nerve will talk about Death's Door. We have a packed lineup for you today, so
Let's see it.
Going to be awesome. And as I mentioned, we will have that special interview with Chris Charla from ID at Xbox, which is awesome.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I am so excited about this. Now, before we do get started with our show, I do want to remind everyone at home, please sound off in the chat.
Please, no full
What
screen.
you guys think? I mean, I already see the chat moving and shaking as it is. I am super excited about this.
Her
So without
video
further
quality is going
ado,
a
I
bit
want to remind
terrible there.
everyone throughout today's ID at Xbox.
You thought it was bad, but it's getting worse.
Sharing exclusive
Yep.
new game trailers for the very first time. Some will feature gameplay updates to highly anticipated indie titles. Others will be brand new, never before seen game trailers. But that's not all we have. So make sure you stay tuned throughout the show and share your reactions in the Twitch chat. So, everyone, let's go ahead and get into it. First up, we're dropping some new gameplay trailers. Let's take a look.
So I suppose it's not a world premiere. Do you know what game that is?
I had to tap out for a split second. It
Developed by Twisted Red. Haven't heard about them.
no, it doesn't look familiar.
They would have said world premiere if it was one.
World premiere.
You're good at that. You should take a job at that.
Yeah, I don't recognize it. Oh, I just went on
Exomecha.
Yeah.
It is a. It had its world premiere at the last Xbox Games Showcase, apparently.
Yeah, sometime last year. Yeah, I don't. I don't recognize it at all. It looks very stiff. Like a lot of the animations don't look quite right.
aptitude for applying lethal solutions to conflicted situations. We wish to test
For a moment I thought Mass Effect type of game, but nope.
and you'll be given a chance at earning your freedom.
Yeah, co-op top-down twin stick shooter, I guess.
Yep.
Oops. There we go.
The destruction to the environment looked good.
Yeah. I'm just trying to fiddle with my stream settings at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, the quality is not the best of the Twitch stream. No date yet.
Ow. I may or may not have gone on YouTube there, and YouTube decided to play at full volume. Nice. This one doesn't look familiar either. Wow, that dash looks like a complete opposite to like the regular jump.
Yeah.
It's like he barely jumps and then suddenly dashes just like instant, like super fast. So I'm guessing this is another like more exploration focused gaming in.
That game company game, maybe.
Possibly. Does have that sort of vibe.
Studio Inky Fox. I think that's the Wild at Heart. I played that at Gamescom at one point. Sort of like Pikmin.
Yes, that is what it is. Another one I don't recognize. But yeah, it definitely has some Pikmin looking gameplay. It's not really many games that tried to kind of sort of emulate that style, really.
True.
There's like Little King's Story and stuff, but
Little King's Story was on Vita, right? It's been a while.
it was on Wii, and then there was new
Oh.
Little King's Story in the Vita that wasn't as good. There was a PC release for
Oh, there's a date. 20th of May.
Yep. The
It
Xbox
ended
logo keeps,
abruptly.
like, popping up at the end. But yeah, it's not too far away now. So, I'm assuming it's an adventure game.
Could be Myst, or however you pronounce it.
Swimming around in the air. Oh, never mind. Looks like. Okay, the vibe of this trailer's just completely changed now. Okay. It goes from looking like some sort of like more artsy exploration game to like suddenly it's like
Drastic change, yeah.
start shooting stuff on your train. It looks okay, but yeah.
Okay, now it's Starship Troopers.
Yeah. It doesn't look bad or anything. I just that was not what I was expecting from the initial part. yeah, they definitely changed directions there. Yeah, there's definitely something wrong with the way the videos are being shown.
All
Like
right,
you keep
Train,
hearing
I
like a
see
very
what you're
brief
doing
like the
there.
Xbox
Void Train looked
sound
really
after
cool,
the
that
end
last
of
one
each
that we
trailer.
just saw.
Yeah.
It's getting like
Yes.
a Outer Wilds meets abduction kind of vibe from that. Brianna, were there
Yes.
any of those trailers that particularly jumped out at you?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of looking at, I think it was called Wild at
She just
Heart.
says
It
no.
almost reminded me of Don't Starve a little bit. It looks like you're trapped in the forest, maybe with a friend. I'm very excited. I mean, Xbox came out of the gate swinging with this showcase. I am beyond excited to see what's next up.
Oh yeah, the first one that they showed, that Exo Mecha game, I saw some people in chat were like, "Is this like a mech battle Titanfall-esque thing?" I mean, the cool news is that a lot of these trailers that we just saw, if not all of them, I might be mistaken on this, but a lot of them said coming 2021. So those are games we can expect this year. Like I said, I'm a big fan of.
Did you see the developer diary of Stalker 2 that was released today?
I saw that it had been released. I haven't really seen much outside of some like.
You didn't miss much.
Yeah,
It was
sounded
just
like it was very minor.
yeah, it was just weapons and character models in close up.
Yeah, I did see some bits of the character models on Twitter.
A lot of fun
So it sounds like I saw most of it
coming up,
already.
and a lot of fun stuff
Yeah.
here that we've seen already. It's been
I
awesome.
still haven't played much
Brianna,
of the
do
first
you play
one.
a lot of indie games on your Twitch channel?
Apparently it's the same team that
Switch
made
off.
the
My
trilogy.
favorite thing about
Uh,
indie games, honestly, is the art style.
I
am
wonder
a
what they've
big
done
fan
in the
of
meantime.
not only good graphics, but just
Maybe they were working on the Metro series. I think some of them worked there. I'm
so
not sure.
much of that.
Wouldn't
And
surprise me.
also,
They
by the
definitely have the
way, I
same,
do want to remind the
sort of
Twitch
similar
chat at
vibes.
home, please sound off. What game did you see from that last trailer are you excited about? I would love to hear it, and you never know, your comment could end up right
It's
here
been like
on the
10
big
minutes.
screen.
Yes, I see Burnt Toast, Burnt Toast TJ, or Burnt Toast J in chat says, so great to see such wonderful support for indies. Yes, 100% yes. So yeah, that was Exo Mecho. I believe Ascent was the name of the second one.
So we're in the post show already.
They're definitely giving that sort of vibe to this.
Oh yes, I am excited.
Oh,
Oh, I
yes,
love
let's
that
look
we're
at it
able
now.
to
Okay,
see
so
this
here was
again.
here was Exo Mecha, I believe is what this one was called again. And this is
Exo
the one
Mecha
that
looks
some people were
kind
comparing to Titanfall.
of
I
rough
don't
at
know,
the
my
moment.
first thought when I
Yeah.
saw those mechs, I saw kind of the circular light design in the center of their chest, and I was like, Pacific
Oh, yeah.
Rim?
Like that
Not all of
that
them.
animation
This is reminding
specifically,
me
like the
of
knifing
every great
animation.
mech battle,
It looks like you're just
that I
poking
know.
them
And
with
look
it.
at
They
that,
go,
like,
oh well,
underwater. I think I
I
saw
guess
a
I'm dead
grapple
now.
hook. There's a grapple hook mechanic in this. Is this
It'll
the
be
type
interesting
of
to see
game
what
you
it's
think you
like
could see
closer to
yourself
launch,
jumping into?
but like with the actual
See,
proper
I'm a little funny
gameplay.
when I play games.
Uh,
I'm not a huge fan of first-person shooter type games. However, the
Yeah, is it single player? Is it multiplayer? Is
It's
it a mix?
multiplayer.
and it looks
I
like
think it's supposed to be free to
action-packed.
play too.
There's so much going on. Like you said, you're able to go underwater.
Let me check
It
the
looks like you
website
were
again. But
shooting
yeah,
at a
I'm pretty sure
helicopter
it's
in the last clip that we saw.
yeah, it's like
This
a
looks pretty good. I might have to give it a try.
online free to play competitive
I love
first
the
person
folks
shooter.
in
So
chat right
yeah.
now that are so hyped for the Among Us segments coming up that they're just saying this
Of
game
course.
looks super sus. This trailer looks so sus. I get it.
Of course,
get
this
it.
is
But
people
yeah, that
memeing
was,
Among
just
Us.
one of the. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah, I guess they'll be
5
showing the
trailers
upcoming map
already
for
shown, and
Among
like
Us
we said,
because
we've got
there's
a packed
a
show for you today. So lots and lots of trailers coming
there's
up.
a new
I
map
thought
coming out
Exomecha
in a
looked
week's time.
super cool.
Well, I guess it's less than a week
that
now, but yeah.
Cyberpunk one, I think it was called Ascent. I think the Twitter handle was
Oh,
at
that's
Ascent the
right.
game. That Cyberpunk one felt very like Shadowrun-esque to me in a good way. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I played through Cyberpunk 2077 and it didn't quite scratch the Cyberpunk itch in the way that I was hoping for. So maybe this game totally could. Maybe
Okay.
we'll see.
Fair
and
enough.
Omni just looks stunningly beautiful. Is Omni more the type of game you would traditionally stream?
Yeah, I would kind of look more towards Omni. Like I was saying before, Wild of Heart is definitely something that captivated me and caught my eye as soon as I saw it. So I am very excited. And I like that you said that about that cyberpunk feel because, you know, some people are kind of looking for something in that genre if cyberpunk didn't exactly.
Oh, there's a lot coming out.
I'm excited about these. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see Mundane in chat says, Mundane Salad says Shadowrun is greater than Cyberpunk. You know what? You said it.
Yeah, I don't know if this is what
But I
other
know
people
spicy.
want to see from these shows, but I'm sort of like, I just want to see the games.
Yeah, me too.
On there today.
Like, I mean, I don't even
So,
have
folks, like I
a
said, that was
modern
just a snippet
Xbox
of some of the
system or
fun that we
anything,
have for
but
you
hey,
today. But
some of
let's
them will
bring in
probably go
our
PC
first
anyway,
guest.
and
So
they'll
our
probably be
first
on other
guest on
systems
today's
too.
show
So it's
is
like,
the senior director.
Yeah, it's funny. The only one who's playing on Xbox is not here, Francesco.
Self-publish their games
maybe I'll
on
get
Microsoft's
an
Xbox
S,
consoles for the last
Series
7
S at some
years.
point, but
And if you're wondering what
not
types
in
of
any
games
sort of
ID at
rush right now.
Xbox are working on
It's
right now,
difficult to get here right now. The X is impossible and the PS5, but the S is sometimes available.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it's like right now here. I haven't paid too much attention. I'm pretty sure the PS5 is still a pain. I just don't see much, like on my timelines on Twitter anyway. I don't see really any mentions of like the Xbox and like how hard it is to get on it.
Okay, that's match 3 mixed with House Moon.
Oops. My desk chair is more than a little bit squeaky. I remember seeing a little bit of this. Nice sprite art anyway.
So many games that I haven't seen before.
Yeah. I mean, that's how these indie ones usually go. Oh, this one's, I've seen bits and pieces of. It seems pretty cool. Sort of like twin stick shootery RTS, like base building stuff. I think it's in beta right now. Seen bits of Cloud Gardens on PC, and this one looks pretty cool, but I wasn't expecting it to be like coming to Xbox first. A bit weird. Griplands is already out on PC, but I think it's early access. I don't know what this was. Like this is a game. Big eyes. Oh, hey, it's Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance. I think more people are going to remember it for its like initial like reveal trailer that was terrible.
Mm.
Hello, Chris. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you feeling today?
Good, thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, of course.
Okay,
Now,
mic
for
quality's
everyone
worse
at
than
home
then.
watching that aren't already familiar with the ID at Xbox program, can you explain a little bit about how that?
Maybe he has to flip it down.
Yeah, sure. So basically, we're a program at Microsoft that enables independent developers to self-publish their games. So they come to xbox.com/ID, they sign up, they tell us what kind of game they're making, and we send them dev kits.
Tomb Raider, is that a hint?
They make the game, and then we, they're the publisher. We try and help amplify the promotion with things like what's happening today, and then
Yeah. I'd
games come
assume
out,
not.
people play
but-
it.
No, it's not an indie game.
It is awesome.
Exactly.
I personally
Yeah.
love indie games, and I think we've seen indie games have this. Not even.
But yeah,
not
who's
even
the studio
research,
that
but kind of,
worked
like, just
on
being
the like
brought
there was the
more
top-down
into
Tomb Raider
public eye
games?
in the last decade or so.
Oh, good
It
question.
makes it a little bit hard for
They
some
also
people
made
to
Hitman Go.
qualify what is indeed an indie game. So
Square Enix Montreal?
what are indie
Not sure.
games all about in your mind?
Well, that's actually
I was thinking
one
of
thing
the
we do in the program is we
there was
don't
like these
try and
co-op
define
shooter
it. In
ones,
fact,
but
I
that was
used to
Crystal
have
Dynamics anyway, so it still
buster on
doesn't
the
count
outside of my
as
office that said indie with
indie
a little buster
anyway.
through it because I was like, you know what, like I'm old and I spent the '90s as a punk rocker arguing about what was punk and what wasn't punk.
The Guardian of Light
We don't
and
need
Temple of
to,
Osiris.
you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
to
but
me, an
it's
independent
like
game
if
is
it
really
was going to
all
be a Tomb
about
Raider thing,
creative control.
I
If
would
a
have thought it would
developer
only
has
be
good
something like
creative
that. But
control,
even those
you know,
aren't
they
by
have
an
that
indie dev
independence.
that was
But
published by
we
Square
have
Enix,
folks in
so
the program who are single
it was just Crystal
individuals,
Dynamics.
one woman, one man making a game. We have studios in the program that are hundreds of people making a game, so we don't stress about it. Like our focus is just on helping people get their games onto Xbox, helping get them great, and then making sure that players get to see them and have a good time.
Cool.
That is incredible. Now, Chris, I'm sure there are so many amazing moments that you were able to experience throughout your 7 years with the program. But if you could pick one, what would be your proudest accomplishment?
You know what? I can't. The thing that like really gets both me and the whole team on ID going is really like when we're able to help a developer like. A lot of times, especially a first game, like ship that first game, and that like always feels great. Or when we're able to work with developers from like all over the world, like we work with developers in more than 100 countries on every single continent except Antarctica, is really cool. So it's hard to pick a proud moment, but maybe my favorite moment was I think it was E3. I can't remember which year, and it was right when we unveiled like the full Cuphead trailer. And I had seen the trailer. I knew how good it was, and I'm on stage. I got the privilege of introducing the Moldenhauers, and the lights go on the Moldenhauers, and they go off me. And then the Studio MDHR logo comes up on what at the time was the largest 4K screen in existence. And I knew everybody's socks were about to get blown off. And just standing there in the dark on the stage, looking up at the Studio MDHR logo was like, I still get goosebumps. I have goosebumps right now talking about it. It was like, it was such a cool moment. It was such a cool moment for them and such a cool moment for everybody who likes to be, you know, just excited by games. So to me, that's like, it's one of my favorite moments in my career.
I remember that moment. I remember when Cuphead was first unveiled at E3 and everyone was like, what is this? And it delivered. I mean, Cuphead's a fantastic game. So what excites you right now? Like, what's the most exciting thing about the indie game scene in 2021, in your opinion?
Just the variety. I mean, we just saw on that trailer and all through today, we're just going to see so much variety of games. And you know, it used to be that I think when people heard the word indie game, there was this thought of like, okay, this is side-scrolling pixel art. And there's still a lot of great side-scrolling pixel art games, but there's everything from first-person shooters to, you know, every genre under the sun, new genres nobody's ever thought of before. And to me, what's so exciting is these games come from everywhere. Right? I think there's a game, I don't want to give it away, maybe it's a review, but there's a game we're going to see in a little bit from two devs in the Philippines. It's really, really neat. Despelote, which was just in the trailer. An airport for aliens run by dogs where you like go around and interact with like clip art dogs that are rotating. Like those are all super cool. And then you have games that just come out of nowhere, not really out of nowhere, but like Shotgun Farmers, which is a game that launched on Xbox, and was from one person and dominated.
I feel like
the
all
sales
he's really
charts on
saying is,
Xbox
yep,
for, like,
there are
a
indie
couple weeks.
games.
It was, like,
It's
the
like,
number one game
okay.
on Xbox, and that is just
Can you
so
show them
cool
that?
that the
We can see
world
some more.
today
Yeah.
like enables that kind
Or
of.
let the developers talk, maybe.
That's what I love. I just love
Yeah,
the
it
variety.
would definitely be more interesting.
I'm always amazed learning at some of the
I suppose he's with the
sizes
Xbox
of
team, so
some
they
of
gotta
these
have somebody
development
speaking.
companies. Does it blow your mind what smaller indie
Oh, the camera
teams are
quality is
able
better.
to create and produce in
Yeah, it's
comparison
probably
to
just a
AAA
connection thing on
companies?
there, and
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen like such great. I think we just call it like democratization of development with the rise of engines like Unreal and Unity and GameMaker. It really has now enabled the focus. You know, games is still incredibly amount of hard work to make, but the focus is on like how good my idea is, how good my story is. Like game
Reminded me a little bit of The Witness, the Forest Cathedral.
as much as they were
Yeah.
10 and 15 years ago. So that's awesome to see, and it's also been awesome to see how things like Game Pass have enabled so many players to experience so many games. It's just really, really cool.
Yeah, it is super cool, and I for one love being able to jump on Game Pass and try something completely new because it's worked into that program, and we will definitely see games today in the ID at Xbox program that are available on Game Pass, but not all of them that we'll show today are, I don't think. Isn't that correct, Chris? It's some of
That's
them.
right. Yeah, it's a variety. Games like I'm trying to think, like, off the top of my head, Genesis Noir shipped recently. That was a Game Pass game, but Shotgun Farmer is not a Game Pass game. And there's a huge amount of variety that's in Game Pass, which is fantastic, and there's a huge amount of variety of games that are, not in Game Pass. So it's just great. Like, there's just a tons to play, and that makes us feel really good.
Absolutely. Where do you think that indie games are headed next? So, say in the next decade or two.
That is a great question, and the answer I'm going to give is that I have no idea, but I mean that in the best possible way. If you had asked me when we started ID if somebody was going to come up with a game where you shoot shotguns and when you miss the shot, a new shotgun grows out of the ground, I never would have guessed that. If you had asked me, is somebody going to make like a game that's hand animated 1930s animation, I never would have guessed that. And so what I love about indie games is they're always surprising us. They're always giving us something new. And so when I say I have no idea what we're going to see in 10 years, like, that's what excites me. Like, if I knew what was going to happen, I might not be as excited. So yeah, I think in the best possible way, I have no idea.
That's really interesting you say that. I am kind of curious with these next generation consoles that have just released very recently. How has that transition been? Has it been kind of difficult or?
No, not really. We've been seeding Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S's to our developers for a while, and we've been really excited to see how many independent developers are supporting features like Smart Delivery, where you might have an Xbox One today and you buy the game, and then when you get your Xbox,
There might be more developers with an Xbox Series X than customers.
updated version of
Some
it
might
at
say.
additional cost. And independent developers are always surprising us, and so. Next-gen features, whether it's ray tracing or smart delivery, folks are taking advantage of them in really interesting ways, and so it's been exciting. It's been exciting to see the games, but one thing that we're proud of is that the transition itself for developers has been boring. And I mean that, again, in the best possible way. That, they get this new system and they can start taking advantage of the power of it, but they don't have to get a PhD to figure out how to use it. And so, that is kind of always our goal, to make it as easy as possible to ship so that the focus for developers can be on their game, on taking advantage of the hardware, not like fighting against the hardware and just being excited they got something to run.
Yeah, in that context in particular, boring is fantastic for the indie
Exactly.
devs, I'm sure.
Right.
So speaking of indie devs, what advice would you give to any dev teams out there who might be watching who would want to apply to ID at Xbox?
Yeah, just reach out. It's xbox.com/ID. You can see from today and from the 2,000 games that have come through the program in the last 7 years. We love variety. We're eager to support like all developers, especially if you're a new developer. This is your first game. Maybe you're not from the United States, or you're from a different territory. Like, please apply. We're really eager to help you get your games on the platform. There's a huge audience of players who want to play your games. I don't want to be crass, but independent developers on Xbox have earned more than $2 billion, like way over $2 billion in the last 7 years from shipping their games. And that just feels really good because it means that we have a sustainable marketplace where developers can have success and keep making their games. And so I guess that would be my message. There is a lot of success on Xbox, whether it's getting millions and millions of people to play your game through Game Pass, just shipping your game and having lots and lots of people play it and enjoy it. Please come aboard.
Wow, Chris, I want to thank you for taking the time to spend and chat with us. But before we do say goodbye, can you let everyone at home know how to apply to the program?
Yeah, absolutely. Devs just need to go to xbox.com/ID, and you can fill out an application there. I think it maybe takes like 5 or 6 minutes to apply, and that's the easy
And
part.
5 or
The
6
hard part
months
is
to
making
get a
the game,
reply.
but the part of building a relationship with Microsoft and everything like that, we try and make that as easy as possible.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so very much for joining us today. This has been so enlightening to kind of take a peek behind the curtain at how all of this works. It has been so lovely having you, Chris. If people want to find you online, is there a place that they can follow you personally, or should they just follow ID at Xbox?
They can follow at ID_Xbox, or I'm at IOCat on Twitter.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Chris, thank you so much for popping by today, and hopefully we'll see you here on Twitch Gaming again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks
Thank
a lot, guys.
you.
Bye.
Oh, that was so awesome. And it seems almost simple for developers to apply. I didn't know that it was almost that easy. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, go to a website, and it takes about 5 or 6 minutes. And I've known about the ID at Xbox program for years and how it helps indie devs get their games out there and get their games finished. And what an awesome program it is. But yeah, I also didn't know how easy it was for devs to apply. So for anyone watching this who has a game mulling around up here, even if it's just in concept phase, xbox.com/ID is what Chris told us. And fill it out there and see if you can help. If Xbox can help bring your game to reality and, bring it to Xbox consoles.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel like what Chris was saying, sometimes starting is the hardest part, but to even put your foot in the door by applying to the program, I mean, oh my gosh. I know there's some developers in the chat watching. Go ahead and get started. I see you guys in there. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely love, like I said, I've been following this program for a while. When you go to a convention like an E3 and you go to kind of Microsoft's convention floor booth, like
yes, E3, it's a convention that will definitely still exist.
And whereas a lot of people go in and kind of hunt for the big AAAs, I'm usually scanning the floor for the ID at Xbox section, because that's where I'm going to go and find the games that, like you said, Brianna, if you're in it for art style, if you're looking for like the game that brings out all the feels that you need to have a tissue box handy for, if you're looking for those fantastic scores and compositions, a lot of times that's where I'm like, ooh, I will find something really unique that maybe I haven't checked out here, which is it's just fantastic. And as we mentioned, Cuphead was an ID at Xbox game. There's so many, I believe Oxenfree might have been originally as well. So many great games, and I know people in chat are teasing and hoping for games that we will talk about a little bit later in the show as well. So don't worry, we've got lots of stuff coming.
We do. We have so much coming. But up next, everyone, streamer Kate Stark will sit down with the team behind the new game Moonglow Bay, which takes place along the peaceful eastern Canadian coastline during the 1980s. In Moonglow Bay, you play as an old rookie angler struggling to keep your business afloat while coming to terms with the death of your lifelong partner, sorry.
There's the
But
feels.
after
Sounds pretty
exploring
happy,
the world a little bit, you come to learn not everything is what it seems. Let's take a look at the trailer.
It's Moonglow Bay, not Arcadia Bay, right? Oh, yeah, looks a little bit different.
Just a little bit. And then she did not get back to me.
Well, Guppy, you did it. Your first catch. 40 years, and you still surprise me. I know this place seems strange. A fishing town afraid to fish. But that's why our new venture might just stay afloat. Because all those stories about the mystical monsters of Moonglow are exactly that. Stories. This bay is full of amazing new creatures waiting to be discovered. So we'll find them and share them with the world. Together. As long as this book is by your side. So am I. Welcome home.
Well, that was a game.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, Zach and Lou. Welcome to the show. Can you tell us a little bit about Moonglow Bay?
course,
Yeah.
go ahead, Zach.
Sure. So Moonglow is like was said in East a fishing RPG slice of life set in the eastern coast of 1980s Canada, though fictional.
Yeah.
And
And it's in a town that people are afraid to fish because of mysterious things.
Yeah, weird
going
sea
on
creatures.
Yeah.
Well, it starts out like a kind of scenario where the game is very regular and you're like, oh, it's just normal fish. It gets weirder and weirder, and you're like, okay, what's actually going on here? People have these myths, and there's some truth to these myths, and so it's a little spooky.
And you get to fish, and you get to cook and sell and make friends around the town and build the town out.
So like while you're trying to explore the world, figure out what happened to your long lost partner, the town itself is going through their own struggles with their potential closing and inability to grow and survive. So it's kind of like a in tandem
everyone
growth,
helping each other.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. Now, without spoiling too much, what can you tell us about the town and what went into creating life in Moonglow Bay?
Oh, it does.
So the town is having its centennial, so it's gonna be 100 years old, and it's completely falling apart. It has no money. The town hall is closing, and you kind of like gotta help it.
You moved into the town 3 years prior with your partner, thinking like, okay, we're gonna retire here and we're gonna just open up a little fishing shack. But then they go on their adventure. Your partner goes on their adventure to start up the shop, and they never come back. So now you're kind of like left alone. You're like, oh, I don't know what to do. And everyone else is also closing down. So you're like, I need to, like, I want this to survive. And your daughter comes back and it's like, kind of like picks you up and says, let's do this. Let's figure this out. And
let's fix this town up.
Yeah. And
there was so much, like, I did so much research on my side, like doing concept art and stuff about Eastern Canada in the 80s, like going to like little groups and checking like people's memories and the photos that they took of the east coast of Canada. So
and also in the fashion, because even though it was 70s, 80s, the fashion hadn't caught up for like 20 years.
Yeah. No, it definitely had not. Well, I mean, what inspired the story on Moonglow Bay then? Because it seems that you did a lot of research into it. So you must, like, and very specifically Eastern Canada as well. So what inspired that?
I feel like this event would work better as like just a shorter gameplay showcase, and then they could have like the devs and stuff do their own things, like their own videos and presentations separately.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes, right?
I don't know with like the Xbox side specifically, but it's like obviously Nintendo has Nintendo Direct and PlayStation. The Sony like has the PlayStation like showcase.
State of Play.
Yeah, State of Play. That's the one. Yeah.
And then we have Future Games Show and all the indie shows, and they all work the way you described them.
Yeah. It just feels like this,
it was
like,
like, you know, there's
it's just going to cause people to drop off. It's like they're obviously trying to keep people interested by going like before they're going. Oh, the people talking about Among Us, yeah.
We just felt like,
but it's like
it was the perfect environment.
They got to try and keep stuff interesting the entire way through, and just
we want to go into the ocean.
This isn't the way to do it at all.
And also, it was a little bit of wanderlust of mine because my
like if they kept it like how it was at the start with like gameplay reveal after gameplay reveal, like even if some stuff wasn't as interesting as others, it's like it would still work alright. But this is just like
yeah, like that.
This isn't that it's not really that engaging.
New town, beautiful, and so that's why like one of the things in the game is to kind of build this town up and make it prettier over time.
So there is also a little bit of mystery around the story and around the town. Are you able to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah.
No.
A little hint, which is basically like there's a lore that exists in the world itself. It's not like the fish aren't typical. They start off typical, but as you get deeper, you get into different biomes. So like regular water.
And you customize your boat.
But then like, it spreads into like these sulfur zones, these like heavy glacier zones, and you're like, how does this doesn't exist in oceans? How does this happen? And so it's kind of like the mystery of
that's also like part of the thing that is making people so afraid. Like people go fishing and they don't come back.
And they just it's completely
so everything is kind of fueled by myths in the town because nobody has the courage to actually go fish and find out if the myths are true or not. So you kind of like everyone just gossips to each other. Yeah, so you can go talk around. You're gonna fill up a journal to see what these myths that people have accumulated are, and then you can go and like
see what truth there is to this, and like there's always gonna be like, okay, go to this location, you're gonna find this weird fish that's gonna like nibble at your ankles. You're like, wait, what? And so yeah, so it's like stuff like that for the player to find out.
So more specifically on that, how do the game mechanics work? What can players expect when playing Moonglow Bay for the first time?
Yeah, so it's a core loop of going out fishing and then coming back and cooking whatever you've caught in your home, and then you sell it at your vending machine.
Yeah, it's a less intense mechanic, the selling itself.
Yeah.
The cooking is like a bunch of fun mini games.
Like Cooking Mama style kind of stuff.
Yeah, and the fishing is like you have several different kinds of fishing. You can... rod fishing is the one that goes the most complex. It has like different levels of
difficulty based on the fish
and equipment. And then there is trap fishing, there is
ice fishing, net fishing,
and line fishing, which is like a little bit more musical. So like you choose the style that you wanna fish with and to capture this 100+
yeah, and there's like
creatures.
certain fish that can only be caught with certain tools, so you're gonna have to kind of go around and figure out what these combinations are. And also in your boat, you can expand, with the money you've accumulated, you can expand the size of your boat, the tooling within it, to get a little bed and a kitchen in the boat itself.
So you can go fishing for days, yeah.
So you can go fishing out at sea for days rather than always having to come back to town.
Yeah.
I love the sound of that. Now, I know a question that a lot of our audience is going to be wondering and asking, and I am myself, can you pet the dog? Because I noticed there's a dog.
Yes.
Can you pet the dog?
You can pet the dog is gonna follow you.
He follows you around.
It's your little companion.
His name is Waffles.
Yeah.
He's adorable.
Waffles!
Yes.
Oh, I'm in love with this game already. This is my new comfort game for sure. Lou, you were mentioning the art style. What inspired and influenced the art style for this game?
So, Zach and I, like, ever since we met, we did a bunch of, like, little mock-ups and stuff, trying to figure out, like, what game do we want to make? And it started from the principle that Zach does voxel art. And also, like, I wanted to bring something really relaxing. So one of the things that, it doesn't look like it because it's all squared and it's, like, has a specific palette and stuff. But one thing that inspired me a lot on their direction is, like, Ponyo from Studio Ghibli, the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, as well as Animal Crossing, like, and the old Harvest Moons from the GBA. So all those things that are very relaxing games, that kind of slice of life, and
all the colors are much softer.
Yeah,
it's all intentionally like catered so you don't feel intimidated by anything, even if like our myths are a little bit spooky kind of thing. So
yeah, we kind of wanted the player to just like get home from work, in this case like finish work, and then like maybe open the game and just relax and distress from life.
I'm seeing a lot of people in chat mention that exact thing, so I think you're on the right track. What sort of playtime can people expect? Is it single player? Is it multiplayer? What do we think?
It's single player and couch co-op.
It can be drop in, drop out. Like it's more of a style of like assist. So if you're having difficulty catching a fish, your friend can just like, or your daughter or anyone can just grab the controller and say, I'm gonna help you catch this fish.
And you can grab onto your player one and pull with them to pull the fish in.
So you go alongside the story and stuff, and the playtime.
We're estimating roughly around 10 to 12 hours. Depends if you want to be a completionist and try to get all.
Depends on how many children you have helping you.
And all the side quests and stuff, or if you just want to follow
or if you just want to gun through the story.
Yeah.
So just depending on how players want to play. I love that.
Yeah, so the range can be pretty big.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what are you most excited, as the developers, what are you most excited for players to experience when playing this for the first time?
For me, I'm excited to see how people react to the fish that they pull up, because we get really weird with their designs. And oh god,
I really love, like, for me, the whole friendship system, like how you can become best friends with people in town and they can tell you like their life stories, or you can help them with their little struggles and stuff like that. That is the kind of things that I love in games. So I'm looking forward to people seeing that as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. Now tell us really quickly about scripting an indie game, and how is it challenging with that aspect of game design?
It's chaotic. It's one of those things that initially you're gonna have a like set idea where you're like, okay, you have this goal,
and it's gonna be so big.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have a set idea that's massive. The scope is always gonna be huge, and then you kind of, as you're building out, you kind of build the first section, and then you're like, okay, how long is this gonna be? And then you play through, and you're like, all right, yeah, that.
And can we keep pulling out this amount of like story and work and
Yeah, so
thinking
it's-
through the entire game.
Like we've been making this game for over 3 years,
yeah.
and a lot of iteration has gone through, and we're just like, okay, yeah, we have to keep cutting.
And it's interesting because we also like we're still developing the game, and like as we develop it, we play it, and like the storyline.
I'm gonna have to head off
fit
a
very
bit
well, so
early
we
there.
wanted to check
Okay.
it, because a lot of work kind of goes down.
I wonder how long
But
this
the
is gonna
big
go
thing
on
is that
for,
we've
but
always
it feels
kept like
like
the main beats of the game.
Yeah, maybe you can drop by tomorrow again. I will still be here.
I will like jump back in if it is still going in like an hour and a half's time.
Then I think
But
people will always be happy with it because they're gonna
it
feel
definitely feels like
satisfied
they haven't shown much for the past like
Right, and you were
half
mentioning
an
through
hour now.
storytelling and a little
Yeah.
bit earlier that there is a
Oh,
good
dear.
amount of lore in the game, and
see ya.
I'm understanding
Okay,
that
see ya.
it's definitely playing a bigger role than I may have thought. Can you tell us a little bit about the lore?
The lore is I think
It's hard without spoiling much.
without spoiling too much, but like one of it is like the reason why some of the people in town are afraid is because the fishermen who die at sea are their spirits are taken within the waters, within the ocean, and that's what manifests like these weird fish and stuff. It's
Yeah.
taken like from people's thoughts, and
Yeah.
so yeah, it's
Like their weird thoughts and their weird imagination kind of brings up things in the sea.
yeah. So and that's just a tinge. I want to see more,
like
but
the
I don't.
tip of
I
an
also don't want
iceberg,
to.
Yeah.
No, not spoiling is very, very good. We'll steer off of that just to get away from spoilers for a little bit. But how did your team approach replayability?
Yeah, so that was a little hard on the
Story.
like,
The story part, it's mostly like we're trying to make different challenges in the fishing itself, even though it's like it's a relaxing game, but we still wanted to give different levels to all the types of fishing.
Yeah, and it's one of the big things is that adding value to that replayability, and all the way we've done it is tying to that story.
Plus
Because the lore is
also-
so interesting to player base, every bit of thing that work you're doing, every added work you're doing goes towards that story, and you've got a lot of collecting. So if you want to,
that's one of the reasons why we added so many fish, is because we want to like people to always have a surprise when they're playing the game. Like there's always something new, and like different zones have different new stuff for you to.
So you don't have to 100% all the fish in the game to complete the game,
But
but
you can, yeah.
keep going after that and learning more of the stories.
As someone who likes to replay comfort games like this, and I think I would classify this as a bit of a comfort game, I'm very, very happy to know that there is that option. Before we say goodbye, because this has been lovely speaking to both of you, how can people follow you for updates on Moonglow Bay?
So we have the Moonglow Bay Twitter account, an Instagram account, a Facebook page. It's all at Moonglow Bay. And we also, the studio itself is at Bunny Hug Games.
On Twitter.
On Twitter. And also there is our publisher that is also going to be giving a bunch of updates, which is at Code Sync. Like
a
code
coat and a sink.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
so that's where we
Thank
can
you.
find.
Thank you
No,
so
thank
much.
you
very much.
I know
It's
I'm
lovely.
excited to be taking these updates, and I'm going to be wish listing that as soon as I get off of here. Thank you so much for your time, and let's send it back to Story Mode Bay and Trisha Hirschberger.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank
my
you, Kate, and thank you, Zach and Lou. What a fun look at Moonglow Bay. I mean, as soon as we got that little nugget of lore where people who die in the ocean, people who die at sea, their spirits and thoughts or whatnot kind of come to be in the fish, I was like, oh man, this
Sold.
went from peaceful fishing sim where I want to like romance different people in town to something entirely different.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I love how Kate kind of called it a comfort game, because it almost is a comfort game with, you know, not the death part maybe. I don't know how comforting that is. But it looks so adorable. And again, the art style for me is what really drew me in. It's almost like that pixelated type of look. You don't really see that too commonly in games now. And I love that, you know, they brought that back. And yeah, I'm putting it on my wish list. I need that.
Yeah, I saw people in chat saying it's kind of like Minecraft-y looking, but with upgraded graphics. At least that's what people were reminded of. And everyone was getting excited when they saw there was crafting in it too. So we learned different types of fishing, cooking mini games, sell everything in a vending machine, meeting different people in town, and just for Zach and Lou, like, to be indie devs who kind of created this world, I'm sure it's just so exciting to invite people into the world and see what they do. Just like, hands off, we made the playground. Now the ball is in your
Go
court,
forth.
which is really cool.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
I'm excited. I'm excited for them. All right, folks, we have to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We have more exclusive trailers coming up. I see everyone in chat that's like, trailers, 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 trailers. We'll get there. We have more exclusive trailers coming up, and coming up, interviews with the devs from Soup Pot, Nobody Saves the World, Among Us, and more. See you soon.
Wow, okay, that's an advertisement for Ratchet and Clank and Play at Home by Sony PlayStation while being at the ID at Xbox stream. I don't think Microsoft intended that. Well, this seems to be pretty long, actually. I expected more like a show like we saw last night with the Future Games show. Oh, stream is falling apart. Well, I actually wanted to see also S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, which they wanted to show. But they haven't even talked about it. So it could be a while till that comes up. So we'll keep the stream going, but yeah, not always talking and paying attention maybe. As for right now, we could take a look at the S.T.A.L.K.E.R dev diary that I mentioned before. We don't mess everything up here.
Hi, my name is Zach, and I'm in charge of PR at GSC Gameworld. We made the original novel.
Yeah, we don't need the audio actually. So yeah, mostly models being shown, character models. And weapons, AKs, shotguns. The uniforms from the faction of the original trilogy are possibly the same, which they mentioned. But I think they will be showing some gameplay soon, hopefully on the stream that we're watching now. Okay, interesting. Apparently at GSC Gameworld there are many dentists employed. Oops. Well, yeah, that was the S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 official game overview. And not much being shown of the actual game.
Welcome back, everybody, to the ID
Let's continue.
Showcase right here on Twitch Gaming. My name's Trisha Hirschberger, and I am joined by the fantastic Story Mode Bay today to tell you about all things going on the indie scene from Xbox.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like we were saying earlier on in the show, we have such an incredible lineup for all of you. Coming up soon, Blind Gamer Steve will sit down with the team behind Soup Pot, and later on, we'll be talking to Victoria from Among Us. I know everyone in the chat is waiting for that interview about the new map that will be dropping in the game on March 31st. But first, we have more exciting game trailer reveals for you. From drifting across gorgeous rally racing landscapes to surviving the cold and desolate wilderness, our next announcements are coming to the Xbox platform soon. Let's take a look.
Oh, that's Art of Rally. That's been out for a while. That's a hardcore rally simulation, kind of like Colin McRae Dirt or the Dirt Rally games. Yeah, but in a low poly style, and from isometric point of view, you can adjust it a little bit. But yeah, you need some good racing skills to master these tracks. Very cool that they have almost every classic rally car you want, like the Subaru Impreza. Of course, they don't have the licenses, but you can recognize each model. And the music in the game is actually amazing. And I like the art style. I'm not sure why it's being shown. Probably coming to Xbox consoles. Sorry about the hiccups in the stream. Not sure why that is happening. Cloud Gardens, which we saw earlier, is getting a huge update. The industry update with 14 new levels and 50+ new items on PC. And it's coming to Xbox consoles later this year. We don't know when. For a moment I thought S.T.A.L.K.E.R, but no, it's probably Rust. Omno, which we saw earlier, which we mentioned looks a little bit like that game company type of games, is developed by one solo developer from Germany, Jonas Manke. And it's coming to Xbox Game Pass on day one for console and PC. And the developer actually animated State of Decay games before. Omno is also coming to Steam, PS4 and Switch.
Meet the creepy AI-driven Mr. Peterson.
Hello, neighbor.
This character has one mission: keeping you from discovering his secrets. Hello, and welcome to Hello Neighbor 2. In this game, you'll be playing as a local journalist named Quentin, who is suspicious of his creepy neighbor, Mr. Peterson. For those new to the Hello Neighbor franchise, this is Raven Brooks, the sort of town where everyone keeps to themselves and goes about their lives. Normally, you would too, except a bunch of people have gone.
Played the Switch version a little bit.
Strange about
It's
your
pretty tough.
Everyone is afraid of him. There have been rumors of children going to his house and never being heard from again. Some people say he likes to lock people up in his basement.
He's very unpredictable.
But no one has any proof. So people just try to avoid Mr. Peterson, his odd house, and ignore the strange sounds coming from.
And he sees and hears everything.
I have a feeling that Mr. Peterson is behind all of the neighborhood disappearances. But no one believes in your ideas and theories. And while you know
Of course, you go there. You don't call the police, you go there.
only one who believes something is wrong and has the guts to uncover the truth. When you break into Mr. Peterson's house, you'll be going against an AI that is constantly evolving. Our goal for Hello Neighbor 2 is to provide you with player experiences. This is an experience that is driven by the community. Mr. Peterson's behavior is a combination of a neural network and algorithms that allow him to constantly learn from his experiences with everyone who plays our game. It begins with the collection of player activity. Mr. Peterson takes note of player behavior, whether or not most players are likely to hide in a closet, use a certain escape route, or certain objects. As time progresses and he learns, Mr. Peterson's behavior may change and surprise you. How Mr. Peterson plays in one encounter with you might be different from the next, all due to his encounters with the game's community as a whole. In this way, the community's experience with Mr. Peterson changes over time, allowing for an AI that is developed through community actions, replayability, and great stories of neighborhood shenanigans. But these new experiences go beyond Mr. Peterson. In Hello Neighbor 2, players can interact with all characters in Raven.
Here's a challenge for you. Count how many times he's saying Mr. Peterson in this stream.
Behave differently and have their own stories for you to discover. So while you might think you're just playing the game, you're really contributing to the development and improvement of Mr. Peterson's AI.
That's pretty impressive with the AI adjusting to the community's
What to expect in Hello
gameplay.
Neighbor 2. If you'd like to try an early access version of Hello Neighbor 2, you can check out some of our alphas on the Microsoft Store. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the neighborhood.
Here we go. Here we go. Oh,
Are you a Hello
my
Neighbor
gosh.
fan, Brianna?
So I played the first one and I was kind of petrified. Like he was finding me from every little corner. I remember trying to hide in the rooms and he was right there waiting for me. So the fact that they're making a second one and he's even smarter than the first game, I'm nervous. I'm very nervous.
Well, that was one of the coolest things about the first Hello Neighbor is that, you know, he would adapt to your play style, and the more that you would do runs, the smarter he would get. But now not having it only be your runs, but the entire community's runs that Mr. Peterson's learning from is frankly quite terrifying to me. Although I'm super interested that they said that the other neighbors will all have stories and will be able to interact with the other neighbors as well. That's super cool. I love that in Hello Neighbor 2 we get a little bit of a motivation as to why we're invading this man's house, whereas I feel like in the first Hello Neighbor you're just like those meddling kids.
Yes.
That are bugging
Don't
our
throw
neighbor.
your ball over in my yard again. And yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Now, I was going to say I was very happy to see that Team 17 is coming out with another game. They're the same developers that made Overcooked, and even the style of the game, it looks very 80s and retro and almost futuristic in a way, which is super exciting to see. The first trailer that we saw with the car driving, again, a beautiful...
Interesting that Team 17 is now known for Overcooked, which they didn't even develop, as far as I know. Of course, they're more known for the Worms games.
Which got high praise from the folks at Top Gear, and being a little bit of a car enthusiast, if you will, an auto enthusiast, I was like, man, okay, loving it. That's some high praise again. For Art of Rally, Craftopia looked cool, and I saw a lot of Rust fans in chat when we were showing Rust Console Edition. So for our console gamer friends, you will be able to get into the world of Rust if that's your jam. I've dabbled a little bit in Rust myself, although I dabbled on a friendly server, so I know it could be a lot more intense if I was in a more survival-based server where everybody's out to get everybody else. But yeah, console friends, welcome.
Here we go.
To Rust.
Oh, here's an update to Art of Rally. It's coming to Xbox Game Pass, and
I know chat that is all
Xbox
about
Series,
what we're
Xbox One,
Up
Windows
next on
10.
the show, we have streamer Blind Gamer Steve.
And there will be a Kenya update.
Behind the new cooking
I'm also coming to PC.
In Supot, you'll be able to make food with a wide range of locally sourced or supermarket ingredients.
But there's no release date yet. In the summer at some point.
Discover and learn more than 100 recipes while streaming your cooking on Cookbook, the in-game social media map. Okay, so we've got like a cooking game and a streaming game. Let's just take a look at the trailer.
Let's do it.
Oh, awesome.
Hello.
Oh, I am really, really excited. Hello, I'm Steve, aka Blind Gamer Steve. And to introduce our guest stars is what I'm here to do. It really makes me happy to introduce to you Gwen and Trina from Chicken Club Studios. Hello, Gwen and Trina. How are you?
Hello,
Steve.
Hello, hello, hello.
Was there anything?
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So, Soup Pot, tell us all about it. What is it? Tell us more. We need to know more details.
So it's really weird. So, like our game, it's very chaotic. It's like, to summarize in one sentence, it would probably be a chaotic cooking game where you don't need a recipe. There's no fail states in this game.
Yeah.
You just do what you do in the kitchen. You improvise. So the player would be quote unquote streaming their process in the kitchen, and in Asian culture we don't really have fixed measurements for cooking. We just like we eyeball everything and then we adjust them according to taste. We just listen to the voices of our ancestors in the background, and we want to replicate this way of cooking because we think it would be fun to play, especially we wanted to do the iconic cooking methods like using our fingers to measure how much water to put when you're cooking rice. Yeah.
That is so cool. And you mentioned we talked before, by the way, thank you for tuning in. I know you're in the Philippines and it's way past midnight where you are, so thank you so much. But I wanted to ask because you said that it was that the Supot is very Filipino and Asian inspired. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that inspiration is part of the game?
So actually, like Trina and I both love to cook. That's one of the things. And then the pandemic happened, and Trina and I were just like, oh, like we're not doing anything. Like we're just at home. We don't get to eat out. And then we decided to make games. So last year we released a demo, which was called Putahe ng Ina Mo Sinigang Edition, and then we looked in the streaming part of it, and people really liked it. So one of the things that we wanted is like Gia, we asked Gia to do sound design where she talks about she says the ingredients names, and
in a really
that
cute
carried
gremlin
over
voice.
into our actual game. Like when we saw how much people enjoyed the demo and they really like it, like we feel like we're filling in a gap where it's not too serious gaming, like it's not instructional, like we want to recreate as much as how you would be in the kitchen, which is you measure by feeling, you fix things as you go, things can get messed up, and like we just want to bring in that fun into the game and make it a game. Like the fact that when you look at games in general, cooking game is always like a mini game, just like a side thought. And we both love cooking, like we both love food also, so we wanted to put cooking itself as the focus of our game.
That is so awesome. Now, we did see actually a little bit in that trailer that there's a social network in this game called Cookbook. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how that ties in to the progression system in the game?
So cookbook itself, we wanted a way to wrap the game, and then it's essentially like fake Facebook where you could look in and then you have like tasty like videos, and you
There's also
learn.
the current
So
news.
yeah, there's also current news, and then essentially like you learn by watching videos of the game, so you also learn techniques like through a combo fighting system that we want. But then there's also an accessibility option where we've made it so that you could actually remap the controls so that you you could adjust the game to your playstyle, and which is something
Yeah,
that
because I
was
was going
very
to ask
important
about
to
that
us.
actually, because of course I'm an accessibility advocate and consultant, so accessibility is very much a big part of my life and what I do. So, what are the other accessibility features that you're going to actually have in Supot?
So one of the things that like we really care for is like dyslexia. Like one of our team members has dyslexia, so that's very important to us. We've that was a very long discussion, whether we put in like QTE or whether we and to balance that so that people feel like they're progressing in the game. Another thing is that Trina is designing, colorblind filters so that we make sure that the game is also playable to people who may not see the colors. We've added in like the reactions, like the lines, so that you have like sort of an indicator of what's happening in the kitchen. And then it was semi-incidental that our sound
The
designer
ingredient.
Oda and Gia, like they just really made the game so well. Like the sound design is so well that all the audio feedback really helps you play the game. Like you could play it also like by listening, and
Also,
the fact that the
the
ingredients shout their names.
yeah, the ingredients shout their names.
That is so cool. I can't wait to be able to try that out. Now, Trina, I wanted to ask you because apparently I understand you're the queen of meme over there at Chicken Club. So I heard that you'd said that there's some really creative and meme driven achievements in this game. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to look forward to? And you mentioned to me earlier there's a 5-second rule achievement. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So our achievements aren't skill based. They're basically based on how much fun you have in the kitchen. So we have this thing where if you drop an ingredient on the floor and you decide to pick it back up and put it on the pot, the game will record that and mark that as an achievement for the 5-second rule because you're still using the ingredient that fell on the floor. And there's also this. Oh no, I'm spoiling a lot of things. But anyway, there's also this feature where you have a fake neighbor in the background singing karaoke, and if you get too annoyed, you can just throw food at them, so they
Oh
stop
my
singing.
gosh.
Something like that. Yeah.
That is so amazing. I love that. By the way, we should you should probably mention that you got to make sure that you have to turn the stove off, correct? You don't want to that's going to be an issue.
You need to turn your stove off if you're not using it because it's gonna Eguen is gonna implement a feature where if you don't turn off the stove, your whole kitchen's gonna burn. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, you had also actually mentioned before that essentially there's going to be the ability to have like kind of different types of food from like locally grown farmers and holiday food. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So one of the things is that we have a marketplace in Cookbook, the social media, And then what we wanted to do is essentially, if you wanted to make like gourmet food, and which like almost all restaurants, what they do is that they source locally, and this is something that's very subtle. It's not really gonna affect like your experience of the game, but we wanted to ensure that the design of it also reflects that, small like local farmers and homegrown organic ingredients are just better and like more fresh compared to like supermarket ones, just because of like fast food and like waste and all of those things. So you don't necessarily feel that in the game because you could buy whatever you want, and the no fail state and the quirky insults that both Trina and I grew up with, like that is how the game is. So I feel like it doesn't push the things that we want, but we've designed the game in a way that it reflects that.
I love that. Now, is this going to be a like a solo single player experience, or is there going to be multiplayer in this at all?
Oh, it's a solo experience.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So you can kind of go at your own pace. I love that. So I bet there's a lot of people kind of in the chat that are going to be wondering, like, when can we be able to get our hands on Supot on Xbox?
So currently we are aiming for August 31st, 2021. And yeah, like that month is like pretty important for us. When the game gets launched, you also could actually play in a Japanese and Korean kitchen, because of like how close those culture are us to what we're exposed to. So there are a couple of recipes, and then you could choose to cook in a Japanese or Korean kitchen also.
That is so really cool. I love that so much. All right, so thank you so much, Gwen and Trina, for joining us. Where can we be able to find more information about Chicken Club, you, and Supot?
Oh, we have a
So you
website
could
that's
definitely
it's down there.
it's
it's
down there.
chicken.club.
Yeah.
All right, that's awesome.
We also have a Twitter.
And
We also have a Twitter,
it's
Chicken Club. Yeah.
Chicken
And
Club,
Discord,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, there's a Discord too.
Yeah.
Just look them up on Twitter, look them up online. Supot will be coming very soon to Xbox. Thanks once again, and I'm going to send it back to Story Mode Bay and Trisha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh my
Thank
gosh,
you,
that was
Steve.
adorable.
Thank you, Gwen
Thank
and
you.
Trina. Okay, Brianna, are you a good cook in real life?
I've gotten better, yes. When I first started cooking, no, not really, but it's almost like trial and error. I love what they were saying earlier about how, in their culture, there's no sense of really following recipes. It's just you let the ancestors guide you and they'll tell you how much you need to add. That's the kind of cook I am.
You know what? I self-professed not a good chef, personally. And I'm watching this thinking, oh, maybe this will make me a better chef, much like Dance Dance Revolution made nobody a better dancer. So no, probably not. But at least it might make me have some love, for cooking. I like the wacky stuff that they talked about where like you can throw food at your karaoke neighbor.
Yes.
That sounds hilarious. Or that when you select food, or I guess pick it up, the food yells out its name.
Yes.
When you pick it, that's what I'm in for. I'm in for the wacky stuff.
Or even they were saying the 5-second achievement. If you drop some food and as long as you pick it up, blow the dust off and put it back on the stove within 5 minutes, you'll be good. It's fine. I'm excited to play.
5-second rule for real.
Yes, for real. Well, everyone at home watching, coming up, we will chat with Victoria from Among Us about the new airship map coming over to the game. And later, streamer Dano Taj will have a conversation with the devs behind Nobody Saves the World. I am very excited. But first, let's take a quick break. Be right back.
And there's something of a new trailer coming up. So maybe we'll get a 30-second trailer after this 3-minute break. Oh boy. Grüße gehen raus an Herr Kaschke.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to the ID at Xbox Showcase right here on Twitch Gaming. My name is Trisha Hirschberger, and I am here today with Brianna, aka Story Mode Bay, and we're kind of like your tour guides through this event today, leading you to all the different sections of things that you will want to see. But
And it's a long tour, it's a marathon.
We absolutely do. Next up, everyone, we'll be hearing from the creative team behind Nobody Saves the World, and they will be interviewed from none other than Danotage. But before we get to that interview, we have more gameplay trailers to reveal. From the Battle of Normandy to the scrum of medieval combat, this next batch of games promises something for everyone. Let's take a look.
Demon Turf.
Oh, that's really distinctive. The art style, meshing 3D environments with cartoony looking characters in 2D. And there's a photo mode, of course. Sorry, the stream is a little bit quiet.
Let me do this right. That's nuts! You did absolutely everything? What the heck is wrong with you?
Scared, little demon?
It's time for my butt to sit on your throne. Yeah.
Oh, nice, there's a demo right now. Demon Turf Trials. Should be Xbox exclusive as well, as the game is. That should be Chivalry.
Attack! Retreat! We make our stand here and now! No! No!
So the close beta is starting at the end of April, and the game is releasing in June, Chivalry 2. That was very quickly. That they ended the actual information there. I haven't seen that game before. Looks Soulsy, but in 2.5D. Has sort of an Elder Scrolls vibe to it. Maybe that's the Elder Scrolls 6. Because now Bethesda's gone indie now that they're owned by Microsoft. They can call them whatever they want. Animations look a little bit choppy at times, but it could be that it's because of the stream. Song of Iron. Well, I like the art style. And the level design seems cool. That looks kind of like the game from Capybara Games. I think it's something else, though. Chat the Far Shore was the game I was mentioning. XO1 coming 2021 to Xbox Series and Windows 10.
That was a
Oh,
peaceful
man.
last trailer. It was so
Yep,
calm.
XO1, the gliding sim. I feel
Yes.
like is what that is. If you need to just zen out. I saw Blank Arcadian in chat when we were watching the trailer for King of Iron said Assassin's Creed of Persia. And I just thought that was hilarious. But you're mentioning things that I love, Blank Arcadian. So King of Iron might be right up there as well. Brianna, did you have any of those trailers that jumped out at you that you were like, yes, I gotta play that?
Yeah, that first one, Demon Turf, I think it was called, definitely caught my eye. It's kind of like a 3D platformer, but what I liked about it is they kind of experimented with that 2D style a little bit as well. So yeah, I'm excited about this. Also, what I'm equally as excited about is our very next interview coming up. Up now, streamer Dano Taj is going to connect with the devs behind Nobody Saves the World. From the developers of Guacamelee, oh, I love that name, comes Nobody Saves the World, which is a twist on an action RPG in which you play many different character forms, each with their own unique gameplay mechanics. You get to explore a vast overworld, clearing generated dungeons in an effort to beat back the calamity and save the world. Let's check out the trailer.
Talking about Demon Turf Trials, it's out on Steam. The demo since November 27th already. I think this game is developed by Drinkbox Studios, which made Guacamelee, or who made Guacamelee? I really liked Guacamelee 1 and 2. And so maybe you can control a chicken here and there. And Drinkbox Studios are masters in creating challenging levels, so this looks already interesting. Soonish. Copyright 2020. Okay, that's a little bit old.
Yo, wow, that trailer was awesome. I've seen that like 3 times now. It's fantastic. My name is Dan Otaj. Hello, everybody. I'm joined by the lovely, lovely human beings named Grant Smith and Ian Campbell from Drinkbox Games. The lovely people that brought you Guacamelee and Guacamelee 2 now bring you Nobody Saves the World. Hi, guys.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. That like
The mic quality is getting worse.
trailer gets me amped every single time. I've seen it like 4 times now, and it's fantastic. The music's a bop. The game looks fantastic. Let's talk about it. There's so many things to get into. We don't have a ton of time. Let's dive right into it. What do you guys want to start with? We got all kinds of things.
Well, we can explain a little bit about the gameplay, how it works, and what we're going for with the game. So
yeah, please.
I guess Nobody Saves the World. Well, to start off, that naked gray baby that you saw that picked up the wand at the start of the trailer there, that's Nobody. That's who you start the game as. And so like right at the start of the game, you find this magic wand, which allows you to change your form into different types of forms. So the game is basically like a top-down RPG, action RPG, but as you're playing, you're progressing through this form tree, and you're unlocking new forms and playing as different forms and experiencing like completely different types of gameplay with each kind of the forms. So at the very start of the game, the very first form you'll unlock is you gain the ability to turn into a rat, and you actually use that ability to escape imprisonment. You get imprisoned.
I knew it that you can transform into some little animals like in Guacamelee.
You notice that the rat has this long list of quests that the rat can do using the rat's abilities. And when you start working on those quests and completing those quests, your rat starts to rank up and gain new abilities, and you also unlock additional forms that you can switch to, which have their own list of quests. So slowly throughout the game, as you're playing, you're unlocking new character classes, which we call forms, and exploring those different gameplay mechanics with the different forms, unlocking new abilities, unlocking more forms. You can see a little bit of the form tree in the video right now. You can see the player just turned into the rat. So in a quick nutshell, that's kind of what the game is about.
What are the other forms? What is the final form is my question.
So the forms, it sounds like it's good for you showing exploratory stuff and being able to kind of puzzle solve a little bit. I assume there's a lot that goes on with how your gameplay is going to be with combat and such.
Yeah, absolutely. Like every form has their own play styles and their own moves. Like some are about like applying status effects to enemies and taking advantage of that. Some are like real heavy hitters, but they need like long windups and they need an element of like timing to them. Some can fly, some can swim. There's like lots of combat and traversal mechanics. As you get further into the game, you can mix and match the abilities between the forms. So, then you have like a rat that can shoot arrows like a ranger, or a horse that's, like biting things and poison like a rat, whatever. So the possibilities are nearly endless, you could say.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit before, and I think that's the thing that intrigued me most. It sounds like there's sort of a kind of Lego plug and play, get to pick different forms and kind of play with them. Is there like how complicated can we get?
It gets pretty complicated. Like to start with, when you unlock a new form, the forms quests are all kind of like training you how to use that forms, because we want to ease the player into the new mechanics that are presented with each form. So it'll be like getting you to use your basic abilities. But then once you've kind of started to get the hang of a form, we start giving new quests that you can't do with the base abilities of the form. You actually have to mix and match, pull in abilities from other classes. So, like for example, if you're playing as the rat doesn't have any ranged abilities, but the rat might get a quest to, use ranged abilities to kill enemies. So then you have some flexibility on how you want to do that. That's a pretty easy quest to do because there's lots of options for something like that. But they do start to get more specific, and some of them are more difficult to figure out. Like, exactly how am I going to do this? And different customizations. It gives the player some room for creativity in trying to complete the quests that they're presented with.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that was probably the thing I was most excited for when sort of hearing about this. Was it looks very much like, well, it looks like my jam, I'm gonna be honest, and it looks like it's a lot of chat's jam as well. So I think we're all pretty excited about that. But that sort of freedom to play within your rules as the developers, but also be able to kind of do things on our own and get pretty creative and play with like the tools that you brought up. I think that's pretty awesome. Not to mention, I mean, just simply like Geopart says, the art style of this game looks amazing, and I couldn't agree more. There's just so much stylistic virtue to it, and it seems like it's you're taking a lot of inspiration from your past works, like Guacamelee. Can we talk about like what are sort of the things that maybe you learned in the past that you brought to something like Nobody Saves the World?
Actually, I mean, talking with the artists through the development process, of course, like, one of the goals is to try and break a bit free from what we had done previously. I guess in terms of, say, like, Severed and Guacamelee have a very, like, angular, vectorized art style, but this is more, like, hand-drawn and, like, lots of lines and strokes and stuff. And we also wanted it to be kind of charming, but, like, off-putting. Like, I know, like, maybe, like, Ren and Stimpy or, like, Garbage Pail Kids were referenced in the art team, where, like, it's, like,
I can see
appealing,
that,
but
I can see
also
that.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah, you
there's
can
a
see
little bit of grunge going on, and like you said, that hand-drawn art style is pretty unique because nobody does it the same, right? Not really, at least. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've seen some mentions, and something that I sort of came up just kind of watching it for the first time was a lot of thoughts of like it being a roguelite, but I wanted to drive home that it isn't a roguelite. It's very much an action RPG, but you guys have something very special, which is, I mean, do you guys want to talk about your dungeons a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, the structure of the game, it's kind of like you're exploring a large overworld, not unlike one of the older 2D Zelda games, but scattered throughout this overworld, there's dungeons everywhere. We have about 25 dungeons right now in the game, and all of the dungeons are procedurally generated. So, and they all have completely different themes as well. So,
So that's very different from Guacamelee.
Prison or a
The procedurally generated dungeons.
non-standard things like you'll be exploring a UFO or a gingerbread
And
house.
as they said, they were trying to break free from the old style of games.
Trying to do some weird things.
Like the hand-drawn
While they're procedurally generated,
visuals. It looks pretty cool. I want to play it.
So each dungeon does like have a unique feeling when you go inside.
I wonder how many different combinations you can have of forms and abilities.
Dungeons are going to get increasingly difficult. If you do die, you're kicked back out front, and it gives you a chance to try and create a new build to go back in again and try and be more successful with another attempt. And another thing we do as the game progresses is we start to add more mechanics to the game. So you can't just like find a form or a combo of abilities that is like ultra powerful and just stick with that for the whole game, because the dungeons will present different challenges. So you'll have to kind of mix and match, not only because you want to try and push down the form tree by doing quests as different forms to unlock more classes, but because some of the dungeons you just won't be able to do with certain forms because those forms won't be well suited with their abilities to do that dungeon. So, yeah.
I wonder how the humor is in the story, because Guacamelee was very well written. I hope they have some sort of story in the game as well.
Give the player some places where they can just put together their best, most powerful form, just because we want you to be able to feel that experience. But there are some builds that feel pretty broken, so we can't just let you do that all the time. Sure. Yeah.
Dang it! I mean, speaking of very powerful things, you showed a couple. It looked like bosses straight up from the trailer, and that's like where my bread and butter comes from, is what I'm always interested in. It's like, oh, the dungeoning is like super fun and super awesome, but where's the boss? And what sort of things can you tell us about maybe some of these high level enemies?
Okay, I share your love of bosses. They're in the game. They're not as much of a focus. They do exist. I think the like enemies and the hazards in the dungeons are almost more like the bosses, if that makes sense, because
yep, yes it does.
Okay, because like Ryan was saying, some dungeons, like, they all have their different themes, and some of them are pushing like really hard in certain directions. Like, I just came in this dungeon and there's like poison everywhere and there's projectiles flying at me everywhere, like, and you're like, okay, well, what forms and what abilities can I use to like overcome this? And that's kind of the focus of the dungeon. So then like a final encounter within that dungeon could just like lean more heavily on that element.
Sure. No, that's cool. I mean, because there are a lot of games that sort of focus on, well, this is cool, you're building up, you're trying not to die essentially, but you just got to get to the boss. This sounds like it's very much going to be a challenge all the way through. And I mean, am I wrong in saying that you're going to basically, I mean, obviously you're going to be having fun the whole time, but are you going to be restarting pretty often if you're not necessarily like just a savant at what these kinds of games bring to you?
I don't think so. We're not trying to go for like ultra hard difficulty, and we don't want players to be like dying too frequently. And although there are some places that are pretty difficult, like there are a few key dungeons that you'll have to do throughout the course of the game that are more difficult, and those are the ones that I was mentioning where we kind of like allow the player more flexibility on what their build is going to be going into those dungeons, because we want them to feel like they're creating like really powerful builds. But no, in most of the dungeons you could probably clear them in like a small number of attempts. And like I said, there's a lot of dungeons though, and we really want the player to be like moving through the world and exploring this vast overworld, meeting its inhabitants, and also jumping into all the dungeons that they're finding, and not just be stuck on a dungeon and looping on a dungeon for too long. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds like you don't want something to be too frustrating. It's pretty cool. I just like the visuals of looking at the tree and how it kind of flows together. It seems really easy to read, which is a relief for a lot of things that have been, just kind of everywhere. It seems like you really paid attention to how everything looks, which is cool. You mentioned also that there's a lot of high-level story. Is there something that we should look forward to sort of getting into as far as like getting fully immersed in? What sort of story are we going to be looking at?
There's a lot of variety, I would say. I guess that's like a blanket statement about the whole game, is us trying to be like charming and varied as much as possible. But like,
understood.
I would personally say to look forward to some of the characters you will meet. Like, my favorite is Marty Joe, the hammer curse, who is just like a person cursed to be a walking, talking hammer. He's got a really good storyline.
I'm sold.
But yeah, there's all
the
kinds
walking talking hammer did it.
Many strange
Sorry about the
many strange situations
microphone.
going to meet. And actually, it kind of ties into the quests that like have been described a bit already.
Should be better now.
We talked about are kind of like combat quests, but the story allows for a whole lot of other quests. Like one of them is to get sat on, or one of them is to like fall in love, and like so you're just. You'll always be finding these things as you're going through the world. It's an exciting part of the story to me.
That's awesome. No,
so there's the humor is still in the game.
Like there's a lot to look forward to. I mean, just characters in general are fun to sort of get attached to. I'm hoping you don't make us sad with any of these characters. I'm not going to ask you to react to that or anything, but I mean, there was a whole thing going on Twitter. It's like, don't cry, it's just a video game, but look at this game. And I feel like these types of games where you introduce really cool characters have a lot of opportunity to make that happen. so I'm both excited and hopefully I do not get too sad with these things, but it looks really, really awesome. Is there anything that we may have missed that you would like to show off today about Nobody Saves the World?
I think we covered most of it. Yeah.
Awesome. No, that's fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. Before we fully wrap up, where can we find Nobody Saves the World? Where can we see online, and what sort of things should we be following right now?
You can definitely follow us on Twitter, Drinkbox Studios. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and we just today, even maybe just like right now, we're opening up a public Discord for the studio. So you can, if you want to know more about the game, see more cool stuff from the game, please follow us on Discord. I think it's like discord.gg/drinkbox. Yeah, those are the places to follow us.
Oh, fantastic! Awesome. Thank you all so much. Thanks to Graham and Ian for joining me. Thank you to everybody for watching this. Please keep this on your list, because I would love to see as many people play this as possible so that I have things to talk about with you all. We're going to throw it right back to Story Mode Bay and Trisha. Thank you both for joining me, and thank you all so much for watching. See you guys.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks.
Thank you so much to Dan Otage and Drinkbox Studios for that interview. Oh my gosh, Nobody Saves the World. I really like the fact that there's so many generated dungeons, so the gameplay almost doesn't feel repetitive. Trisha, how do you feel about it?
I thought it looked awesome. I mean, I was watching chat the whole time during that interview, and I saw Simo Masso in chat says perfect mix of RPG and roguelike, which I thought, yes, that's a good way to describe it. Because I mean, there were a lot of people saying, "Oh, roguelike," and we heard Ian and Graham say, "Well, kind of, but also not really. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to love here from the from kind of the quirky characters and interesting side missions that they talked about. That I do think it's going to have a lot of replayability. I do think this is a world that I know for myself I'm probably going to spend a lot of time in. I think that Nobody Saves the World looks definitely interesting. Do you think it's something you'll probably stream?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to check it out. And I love what you said too about the replayability because I feel like there's so many games where you play and it's almost like it's one and done. But no, I want to get my money's worth. I want to play this a couple of times over and feel so excited about each playthrough that I do. So yeah, I'm definitely checking this out. Chat at home, what are you guys thinking? Is there a game that you're super excited about that you've seen from?
It's called S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. Maybe we will see it at some point this year.
I mean, looking at the chat, I have a good feeling about what they're looking forward to. I'm seeing a lot of hype for Stalker. I'm seeing a lot of hype for Among Us. I know what the chat is feeling like.
Oh yeah.
Show the airship map and get to S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, please.
Today, so let's go ahead and keep this party rolling. We've had so many great game announcements already today, but next up we have a number of titles never before revealed. Dun dun dun, that's right, new game trailers. Let's take a look at those now.
This is our world, or canon. It is a world gifted with magnificent and generous nature, albeit sometimes harsh. Besides ourselves, the Marios, our canon is home to the Pesca, the Zephs, the Arctans.
It's always the same identical walking animation in every environment. Written by somebody who worked on Final Fantasy X. Okay, more Final Fantasy people.
Oh, we must not forget the Migmies. The Migmies bring our people together and carry around crates containing an essential ingredient for our society. This ingredient is called a harmelin. The harmony between our people depends on it. And last,
Artisan Studios. It rings a bell.
the demigods. Our mission is to fight and defeat the noises, the mysterious monsters that threaten our beautiful harmony. The demigods will not allow anyone to disrupt our canon's harmony.
Oh, the developer of Super Neptunia RPG. Wow. They're working together with Final Fantasy veterans.
Demigods, ascend!
Well, that explains the female character. S.T.A.L.K.E.R ascending? Okay, that was suddenly gone. Sometime coming in 2021. I think the focus is clearly on the streamers talking, not on the actual videos being shown. Reminds me a little bit of Air Buccaneers. Not many people have played that, I think. It's sort of a combat game between two factions in airships. And that's Air Vikings. No, what's the title? Last Oasis. Or Last Oasis. Not the easiest font. Oh, it's out now. For once a shadow drop. Oh, Last Oasis is actually an MMO that was released a year ago. And a lot of players suddenly stopped playing that game. On Steam, but it's now out on Xbox, of course. So it could be raising the player base again. That was bland a little bit. Is that a game or an ad? Farming Simulator? Yeah, it has to be Farming Simulator. Law Mowing Simulator coming summer 2021 by Curve Digital. They found that tiny spot where there's no simulator yet. Can't wait for Heckenschere Simulator 2021. So that's another game that's supported by the Slovakian government. We had one before yesterday on the Future Games show. So they're pushing video games. That's pretty cool. Sort of like Hyper Light Drifter in a messy, brutal way. Published by Super Hot Games, apparently. Suddenly the Xbox logo popping up again.
Oh man, so much Last Oasis hype in chat. I loved it. There was a lot to love there. Last Oasis looks great. Lost Eidolons is maybe how you pronounce it.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, Loot River looked awesome, and I saw chat also very excited for some of those.
Everything is awesome.
Simulator made me giggle. If you want a really, really intense, very accurate lawn mowing simulator, then that could be you. But Last Oasis is out right now on Xbox One.
Yeah, that is incredible. And again, like you said, there's so many fans at home watching. You guys go play, go download. It looks incredible. Now, I do have a couple of questions about lawn mowing simulator.
I suppose they didn't Google the game beforehand.
Are you just kind of mowing the lawn casually? I'm interested. I have a couple of questions about it. But that last trailer for Loot River, oh yeah, I'm excited for it. It's almost like you're moving in a puzzle type of motion. It's like an adventurous Tetris, if you will. Oh, I want to play it.
Oh yeah, and the second that I see Super Hot Presents before any trailer, I'm like, yes, please, let's get that. It looks like it'll be challenging, mixing the puzzle play with the combat, and the art style looks cool. The second I saw the Plague Doctor helmet and like wiping the blood off the front of it. I
Yes.
was like, oh, this is gonna be rad. I'm into it. And Lost Eidolons was like everything I love about the medieval character creator with what looked to be turn-based tactical combat. I don't know if we can specifically tell that from the trailer, but that's at least what it seemed to me, which when you combine those two things, that is something I am definitely up for as well. It looked really cool.
Absolutely. Now, which one was the one with the guy and he was flying in the air? Was that Lost, or am I thinking about a different one? I'm trying to remember all these titles. They were so good, but that one looked exciting too.
Maybe Last Oasis. Last Oasis was the one with like the cool airships that everybody's pedaling.
No, that's not the game.
Desert-esque atmosphere. So it might be that you were thinking of. But yeah, really, really fun trailers. I'm glad to see everyone in chat getting hyped for some games. Next up on the showcase today, our next guest is one of the creative minds and developers behind this small little indie title that some of you might know, called Among Us. And on March 31st, a new map, the airship, speaking of airships, is dropping into the game. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer for the new map now.
Oh, that is it.
Welcome, recruit. Get yourself acquainted with the layout of the Top-Hat airship. Enough slacking, go do your tasks. You may need to take a ladder to get to certain areas, or maybe just take a nice shortcut. Quit grouping up. Choose a room to start in after a meeting. Someone keeps trying to sabotage us. Stop their plan. Keep your eyes peeled. We definitely have an imposter here.
Hello, Victoria. How are you today?
I am great. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for being here. The chat is so hype. Like, they are moving so incredibly fast. I think everyone is
We're very
beyond
honored.
Yes, I think everyone is beyond excited, not only for Among Us, but this new map coming out. What can you tell us about the airship?
Yeah, so the airship is actually dropping in like 5 days. Oh my goodness, 5 days.
So soon.
So it's very soon. Yeah, it's going to be our biggest map ever. It's going to come with an account system. We have some free hats coming with it, as well as some cosmetics that you can buy. There will be all new tasks. There's going to be ladders and moving platforms. It's going to be hopefully a lot of fun for everyone to play with, and we are really excited for it to finally be out.
Can you tell us, for those of us that really like to play imposter, or get chosen as imposter, can you tell us what the venting system is like? Is this going to have a fully connected vent system for that pro level play?
Oh, you know it. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see how everyone gets around to murdering each other.
Oh, I cannot wait to, in the best ways, murder my friends. But with that being said, I thought it was really interesting from the trailer that after meetings, you're able to select what room you spawn back in.
Yeah, that seems to be new.
Yeah, so, you know, it's going to be a lot of fun. It'll like definitely change up the strategy. And if you spawn in the same room as the imposter and it's just you two, good luck.
I mean, whoops. Do you have any pro strats for people encountering a map that has dual level play?
Yeah, just run as fast as you can. just trust no one, run as fast as you can. You know, all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah, it's going to be a lot, and we hope like in the future to make bigger lobbies so you can have more players, but that's going to be coming in the future, so.
That's exciting.
Bigger Love is coming to Among Us. You heard it
The
here.
airship is going to be the biggest map available. Does that mean that there will be new tasks available as well, or new death animations maybe?
Yeah, so there's going to be all new tasks available, and there will be one near-death animation if you buy the additional cosmetic pack that comes with it. As you can see, it's based on Henry Stickmin, which is another game that we made in the past, so there it is. It's Right-Hand Man's kill animation, so we're hoping people have a lot of fun with it.
Oh man, are you allowed to tease what the new hats are?
You saw lots of it in the trailer, but we will have some new free hats, such as a unicorn hat, like a little heart, some angry eyebrows, zipper, a chocolate ice cream hat that is definitely not poop. It's definitely chocolate ice cream and nothing else.
Definitely not poop.
Definitely doesn't look like anything else.
Thank you for specifying. But with that being said, do you have any personal favorites about this new map?
Honestly, okay, so I don't know why I'm so excited about ladders, but I am. It's just like something, it's just so simple, and there's really nothing that special about it, but I just love the like simplicity of ladders just everywhere.
I think that's
Simplicity
cool. I'm excited
or
too.
complexity for the players. So I wonder, you said this is going to switch up people's strategies. How much are you watching gameplay? Are you watching streamers to say, all right, here's the main strategies that people are running with right now that would consider themselves, pro level at Among Us, because there are people out there who are very good at this game. How much of their gameplay do you watch when thinking like, oh man, we need to switch it up?
Oh, it really depends, right? So we do try to keep up, and well, there's a lot. Thankfully, we're very grateful to have a lot of people who play Among Us, so that's really cool. But we do, try to keep up and see who's playing and kind of their strategies and see the kinds of cool things they come up with. But within ourselves, actually, like with our game design and with our own like QA and our own play testing, it's really a mix of like our own sensibilities and just years of making games, and also just seeing how the community runs with it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like things like, visual tasks being able to be on and off, having the taskbar fill immediately, stuff like that it's kind of like through playing it, you're like, oh, this could be tweaked, and not just necessarily like tweaked to make the game better, just to give people options of what you want the difficulty to be. And I'm sure Brianna and Victoria, you can both relate to this, but it's like, if I'm playing Among Us with my family members that don't game very often, my settings are going to be very different than if I'm playing with a bunch of streamer friends that are, 24/7 Among Us players.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I think the cool thing, right, is just to see all the different kinds of people that come together to play Among Us, right? It's not, we've had classrooms of people playing, we've had families playing. It's been really nice to see.
Oh, that's so cool. I am kind of curious because I have being an imposter on my mind. Are you able to maybe kill someone on a ladder or one of those moving platforms, or is that off limits?
Unfortunately, it's off limits, but the fact that you thought of that, I'm like, all right, someone's ready. Someone is just ready to kill on these things.
I can see it now. Stack kill on a ladder. Story mode bay.
I know. Oh my goodness. just plop it on the floor. Just push it off the moving platform.
Right.
If it happens, we know who is sus. So I have to ask you, Victoria, how much do you play Among Us on, like, I would say a weekly basis? Are you like, hey man, this is my work, I kind of need a timeout in my personal life, or are you just 24/7 in the game?
Yeah, because it's my work, I try to separate it. Like, I'll play it for charity and stuff. But the thing is like, I'm not actually a great imposter. Like, Forrest, who's our programmer, accurately called me out for being an imposter because no one was dying. Like, I was too anxious to kill everyone. So I don't really play it in my off time, but for work, obviously I will.
Fair enough. And speaking of work, I mean, I just have to say, I feel like the team has been incredibly busy within the last year. How is the development team doing? How are you all doing, kind of transitioning into this high demand for the game?
Yeah, we are. I mean, one, we're grateful and excited, and we wouldn't trade it for the world or anything. But wow, we are tired and anxious. It's been really like wild to see the reactions to it and just like playing catch up with everything. But with the launch of the new map and with the account system, we're like we've kind of caught up, so we're hoping that we can get more regular updates out and talk more. But it has been a really, really wild 2020 and 2021 at this rate.
Yeah,
Extremely.
I bet. I see Reash45 in chat says, thank you to the devs for this game. And I'm trying to keep up with you here, chat, but it's going so fast because there is so much hype. To see you, Victoria, and to have you answer questions here live on the stream is just super cool. And to get a preview of this new map, and I'm sorry, I just laughed at that murder ball animation that just happened right there. But yeah, the airship looks super cool. As you mentioned, it's coming in 5 days now. If people did want to, if people want to pre-order or get their hands on any of this content, or at least ensure that they will be getting their hands on this content on the 31st, where can people do that?
Well, the great thing is, if you've already bought Among Us, whether that's on PC or mobile, it will automatically update. It's a free update. It will be there for you on March 31st. And then in 2021, it will be coming to Xbox consoles. I don't have a specific date for you yet, but that's the news.
Dun, 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 dun.
I'm very excited about it coming to console for sure.
And with the console, can you say whether there's cross-platform play as well?
Yes, there will be cross-platform play because, you want to play with all your friends.
Yes. Oh, we love that. We absolutely love that. Victoria, I don't know where time went. Things flew by so fast. We could literally talk to you all day long. But if anyone has any questions or
some might say you do.
Find you, do you have maybe a social platform that you prefer people to reach out on?
Totally, yes. So you can find us on Twitter most of the time. So that's twitter.com/AmongUsGame. You can also find us on Discord at InnerSlothDevs.
Awesome. Well, Victoria, thank you so much for stopping by the ID at Xbox showcase today. Thank you for coming by Twitch Gaming, and hopefully we'll see you here soon.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me, and thank you, chat.
Yay. Oh man, that was so fun. I can't wait to jump into that new map, and I can't wait to see what the new tasks are and, how to adjust your strategy accordingly. I saw the people in chat saying Trisha is sus. Everybody always thinks I'm the imposter, even when I'm not, and I don't know why. Apparently, I'm super sus all the time. But you know what? I'll take it, and then we'll adjust my strategy accordingly. And what kind of imposter are you, Story Mobe?
I like to say I'm strategic, but sometimes when that imposter title flashes across the screen, it's like I kind of black out a little bit. Maybe I get a little hungry and crazy with power. And I'm just like, yes, the first person I see, oh yeah, that's who I'm going for. And all my little plan just goes out the window. I panic sometimes. It's fine.
I try my best to have a nice clean kill when you can get somebody alone and then vent out of there real quick. But it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you have a kill and then 3 other players walk in.
It gets
and
messy.
I've watched it happen. It's the luck of the draw sometimes, but the more clean kills, the better. All right, folks, we have so much more show left today in the ID at Xbox show.
Really, so much more for sure.
More devs are up next, and then more exclusive gameplay trailers. Huzzah! And again, just a lot more content to show you. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
I'm very sure you will. And before the PlayStation Play at Home spot comes on again, I will pause this. Yeah, so that's been the ID at Xbox showcase, indie showcase. You can continue watching if you like on twitch.tv/twitchgaming. And yeah, had some interesting games there. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 wasn't shown yet, but you can probably catch up on that in a few hours when this showcase will end, possibly. And we will be back with the next event. You can check out the calendar for the streaming dates. Thank you for watching.